Here we go. Yinka.
I greet you, sir.
We are not playing, All
right. So
what is it? Well, first of all, Nigerian School of Mathematics. What is the problem we are trying to solve? And then who are we? How can we say we can solve American math education? The whole country.
Oh, because we are solving it.
We are solving it.
We are solving it, right? So I mean, I've been in American schools. I teach a lot of students in America and all of that, America, Canada, and stuff. And so there is a problem.
There is a problem. What is the problem?
The problem with the American math education, I think it's part of it I think is systemic, right? That's like we could argue from the role of the government or the role that the government has played over time.
Yep.
And then the other one I think is just, some people argue, let me not say that I think, but some people argue that there's just what excessive ease does, right? So when you have a level of ease without a sense of purpose, right? So again, one of the things I tell people is that the amount of ease, it could be financial, it could be otherwise, you have must match a certain level of purpose. Else you would drop into, in fact, it would be better off that you did not have that ease as far as you making progress in life.
Wow.
But I think America kind of came to the point, where they had much more ease than they had purpose.
Yes.
Right. I was gisting with someone and I was trying to explain to the person that when I was in university, that was the first time I ever got an ATM card. My mom funded that card with like 40K.
Wow.
Then, so that was money. So I just kept on withdrawing, it just felt so brilliant. The fact that I could withdraw and spend. Reality then dawned on me the day I finished the money. I realized that, you have to put money to be able to withdraw.
Yes.
I think America has been withdrawing. And they are now coming to the point where they are, we have to put something inside this to be able to withdraw.
Correct.
Right. And so I think, systematically, yes. And also in the educational space also, so there are a lot of other things we could argue, but I think that's just at the center of it. So you now find out that you have immigrants.
Yep.
Who don't have that level of ease. Interestingly.
Correct.
Who don't have that level of ease or that assurance of tomorrow, right? They are now the ones leading in the academic space because they have a reason to want it.
Yes.
They have a reason, but in America, so I'm just saying that as far as ease goes, finally, just to buttress this point, there's something I talk to parents about a lot. When you see a lot of parents who have, and I think this applies to America a lot, America as a state.
Yep.
When I find parents who have, they're like, I came out of nothing and look at what I've done with my life and all of that. And they are right to be frustrated at the fact that my child have given you everything.
Yep.
And yet you don't seem to have done anything. You're just wasting away. And but me, look at what I did.
Correct.
And the question I ask those parents many times, even though it might sound offensive, is I ask them, what did lack teach you?
What did
lack? The lack you did, the lack that you had when you were growing up. Teach you. Yes. So the lack that you had, the lack of ease that you had growing up, it taught you something that your child has not learned. So when you have to think of a way to continue to teach that thing.
Yes.
That is supposed to inspire your child to want more.
Correct.
Right? So, we could argue about several things and several ways we could do that.
Correct.
Generally, I think that's what America is lacking systematically, and which has now spiraled into their educational system, especially mathematics. And then they've dropped in world rankings and all of that. And not just in math, funny enough, across a number of things, but we're not discussing politics.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting. My name is Amos Tarfa. Yinka and I, you've seen some of our videos. This is a joint venture called the Nigerian School of Mathematics, based in Houston, Texas. I repeat, because some people will say, wait, isn't it based in Nigeria? No, it's based in Texas. About 10 years ago, one of the people, I taught this kid at this private school in Minnesota, and he said to me, Amos, it looks like you might have to be importing your Nigerian mathematics for the thing you are trying to do. Because I started writing math curriculum about 10, 15 years ago. Why did I do that? Because part of it is math is beautiful. And we have an episode coming soon. Guys, hey, see this guy here. Hey, let me not start. But when you look at Euler's equations, Euler, how many children look at Euler and just start jumping for joy? Do you know what math classrooms should look like? Here's what they should look like. They should be looking on the children are just sitting down, and all of a sudden everybody's like, yeah, did you say everybody? It's like a football match. Yeah, that is how beautiful math is. But how many people know that? Nigerian School of Math, we're changing that narrative worldwide, but starting in Houston, Texas. By the grace of God, if you are in America, you have no other place to be. You must connect if you want your child to get to the highest levels. This guy was the best mathematician. He's the one that inspires some of our work.
Yeah.
Guys, Nigerian curriculum, the rigor has a place.
The rigor has
we need hands-on learning, but the rigor has a place.
Yes.
And that's what Mr. Yinka is providing me the materials from the Nigerian side. Me, I'm bringing counting to calculus. We now put it together. We're ready.
Yeah. So like just speaking about that rigor a bit, right? You find out that a lot of kids have not been stretched, so they're not even aware of what their limits are.
Wow.
Right? I remember I was talking to a child once, and the child said, "I'm just trying to talk, guy, look, what is this?" and all of that. I know what the guy said. He said, "I'm doing my best." And I asked him, by whose standards are you doing your best?
Hey.
Who defined best? That's like a very, I heard myself say it, and even me in my head, I was like, I clap for myself, that kind of thing, like this is a word, but it's true.
Yes.
So you find out in America, everybody just seems to break under the slightest of
a little push further.
A little push further, and everybody just seeming like, oh, it's a lot. Meanwhile, like I said yesterday, I taught kids until past 12 in the night.
Wow.
And they had exam. No, I think it was past 11, right?
Yep.
When they let me go. We were in class for 4 hours.
4 hours of class?
4 hours of online class. In fact,
American families, can you hear?
I left them on the call. I left them because I had one of my business, my investors called me, so I had to take his call. Took his call for like 30 minutes. Went back. They were still in class.
They were still in class for 4 hours.
Waiting. They didn't allow me go. When I got home around 12, my other tutor that was online teaching AP chemistry.
Yes.
She was the one that now said, Mr. Inka, these children, I can show you the text. These children just depleted. And these are children in American schools.
Wow.
It's one of those children that I told you that, the 1320 that she had.
Yes.
That when I entered her to ask her, what's this 1320 score you had in your SAT, that she was hiding her face.
Yep.
That like she didn't want me to even. Correct. Because she knows that again, so when you say, I did my best, what defines the best? Yes. By what standard did you define that this is my best? And you see, in America, again, that's what ease does.
Correct.
That's what ease does, right? Because again, you don't have to stretch too far to get what you think that you need. So the reality is that idea of best, something just so any small thing someone is breaking. Correct. Any small thing someone feels like they're breaking down, the whole world is crumbling on their shoulders and all of that. Meanwhile, it really isn't, what it is. It's just a function of once you if you're able to come out of that space and stay in a different space, you realize that, this is like, I've not even scratched the surface of what's possible. Wow. And at the end of the day, who loses? The children.
Yes.
The people that lose at the end of all of this, right? By not giving them the rigor.
Yes.
So one thing I find myself saying to parents when they bring their kids to the hub, first thing I say, don't pity your child. Though. If you want to pity your child, don't bring them here.
Correct.
So, and so even with the kids in America too, and I think it should be dropped as a perspective, even for people that are watching or interested in Nigerian School of Mathematics, is to say that if you're looking to pity your children, the point is allow us to work on them and inspire them to the point that they want it as much as others. And we can do that. Yes. But don't stand in the way.
Correct.
Don't stay at that point and then you now begin to, make it look like they are over. No. Go and check what their mates are doing in China.
Correct.
Go and check what their mates are doing in Singapore.
Correct.
What, look at how the Asian world is taking. Do you know that, but for the somewhat lack of educational infrastructure and exposure in Nigeria, which we'll be speaking about in a bit. Yep. I believe that when it comes to the rigor of Nigerians. Correct. Nigeria would have been where China is, or even ahead by now. Correct. Ahead of China, ahead of Singapore by now. But for some of the challenges that I don't want to go into right now on this podcast, but for some of those ideas, Nigeria would have been, a lot more, would have been ahead of these guys in STEM. Yep. So what I'm just saying is that, especially immigrant parents that you travel, sometimes you meet some immigrant parents, you travel though. Yes. You were here. Yes. You came out of that system. Correct. Then suddenly you traveled. So some things, I told one of my tutors, I said, I was talking to her because I didn't like the way she was working with a particular student. And I was like, look, do not starve this child of what made you into who you are today. Wow. Don't say it because of pity. If people, look, let's call it the truth. Correct. This same training brought you to the point where you are today, that you can stand head, shoulder above, So why exactly are you starving this child? Because you want the child to like you. All of those things are just blatant rubbish if you ask me. Right? So, Nigerian School of Maths, it's it's friendly, it's chill, so that I don't scare anybody. But at the same time, too, when it comes to that rigor, I have to stress it.
Correct.
It's important and it will be done.
Correct.
It will be done.
Yep. If you go to certain places in Houston and so on, you see like an Indian restaurant, Punjab, or you see Mount Everest, even Nepali restaurants in the US. What we are doing is we are exporting mathematical rigor and excellence in educational reasoning. I went to Federal Government College Lagos and I joke that we're better than FGC Port Harcourt. but builders of bridges, right? From FGC Lagos, further maths, pure, further maths applied, new general maths.
Oh my God. The quality of teachers. Anyway, let's not get to
we'll come back to that. But let me say this, because Nigerians sometimes you have to give a little bit of my credentials before people will now tell me, no. America has this one better in K-12. Let me explain something to you. In America right now, 50% of engineering students leave engineering when they get to university. Do you know where most of those students are from? They are from American K-12 schools in America. Mm-hmm. But you will not see that percentage. And I say from Singapore, India, people tell me, we bring the best. No. Some of the average Nigerian students that come to America, they're still okay.
I was about to speak about that.
The research came out, actually. They did a meta-analysis. When you hear meta-analysis, you sound like you know something. The meta-analysis said that the K-12 structure of American schools is not rigorous enough for engineering students. That's the result. What Nigerian School of Maths is now saying is, if you are in America and you want to get the same rigor of Singapore plus more, because I do consulting for people in Singapore, if you want to get, so Singapore is number one. Let me tell you the 6 countries: Singapore, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan. Do you notice a trend in all 6 countries that they have been only number one for such a long time? Nigeria.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about how Nigeria itself can compete. But the Nigerians in diaspora, what are you doing with American K-12 education that is not producing top engineering students, a lot of which struggle? Now, am I saying that every student in America that goes to engineering school is not as good as mine? No. There are some students that are good, but here is what the system even says. In American schools, you're not required to take calculus before you graduate. Do you know that in Nigeria, where there's no constant electricity, people are learning new general maths, differentiation and integration?
Yes.
So those in diaspora, this is my plea to you. Really pay attention to what your children are learning in school. Don't just assume, we're in America, so they must have something that is working. No. Is it rigorous enough? Are they doing calculus? Are they doing statistics? Are they doing linear algebra? Are they doing discrete math? These are some of the things that the Nigerian School of Maths is saying will be standard. All our students. Then the ones that want to now do calculus too, we'll meet them there. Let's go. Chemistry, physics, computer science. What we are saying is this. We want to scale up rigorous STEM education for any child that wants to have a chance. One of the things in America they do that vexes me is this idea of, our schools are not well funded. Let me come to this. The fans in my classroom in FGC Lagos, they did the best they could. We didn't have fan. We didn't have electricity. But some of the guys I went to school with, they were at MIT. They were not just, it's not like they just went to MIT and they didn't. No. They were at MIT and they were making waves. They're at Yale. They're at Columbia. Guys, when you have American schools that have plenty money coming in and giving you students with 0.9 GPA, you know that your problem is not money. Your problem is vision.
0.9 GPA as average.
As average. Some of the most funded schools in America, students have 0.9.
Nigeria, we have our issues too. So
we do. And please, if you have 0.9 GPA, we're not giving up on you. Email Nigerian School of Maths. Again, we will help.
That's the whole point. We will pick you from, that's the point.
From wherever you are.
That's the point. The point is not, we'll pick you from wherever you are. And one of the interesting things is, even at the hub, I realized that I'm able to, we've created a system. This is at our physical location here, right? Where I can have a student who is doing advanced maths, calculus, whatever, right? And the student who is just learning quadratic equations, they are in the same class.
Wow.
And I'm teaching them separately. And this one doesn't feel any less than the other one.
Wow.
Because of the way you've created the environment. That's that kind of thing. So everybody, we shall know that we are here to project.
Correct.
Right? So for me, it's like that whole idea where when the reward for work is more work, we'll continue to stretch. So I have students who, and these students go to American schools, by the way, in Nigeria here, and they apologize for their A-minuses.
Wow.
I can show it because the target is all A's. I'm telling you all A's.
Hey.
So when they get an A minus,
yes,
they will be like, Mr. Inka, I'm sorry about. I would say one of them just had 1,400 out of 1,440 in the PSAT.
Wow,
1,400 out of 1,440. I'm telling you, in the PSAT. So, again, the standard is that's one of the students that I'm talking about.
Wow.
When you get A minus, if you say that now to, they will say, oh, you tamper with their mental health, or you make that. Look, there was something that was done to that child.
Wow.
To be able to determine that I think that I should be, and I'm not talking about one, I'm talking about many. I have students that there's a particular family that they got their this one humbled me because I work with your sister. She's on a full ride now in forget the name of the university anyway. But I work with the sister.
She said full ride, oh, that means full scholarship.
Full ride. Oh yes,
they're not paying.
Oh yes, we have them places like that. Anyway,
come to Nigerian School, we'll help you.
We have them places like that. Anyway, but the younger siblings, right? They were not with me for the first semester. So when they had their result, I think they had each of them had 1B.
Wow.
And so all of them put themselves inside their mother's vehicle. The mother did not come and drove to the hub to come and discuss their results with me. I'm not even joking. I was so humbled. And the question you would ask is, what was done to them? I mean, while your own child, some of the results that some other children are crying or are beating themselves about, if your own child brings it home, you kill cow and all of that. You need to really define what your expectations are and insist on them.
Correct.
Insist on them. I'm not saying compare your child to anybody else, but look, this is who we are.
Correct.
Right? We are insisting on this level of expectations, at least from the academics that we can see. We can branch out into other things, right? But none stops the other.
Correct.
No one stops the other. And another thing is that the rigor that you get, one of the reasons why I really believe in, school education or, the standards as we have them is that at least it gives you something to measure yourself against.
Correct.
Because in the real world, you'll be measured against standards.
Correct.
That's the truth. So at the very least, we should ask ourselves to say, let it be that we have the mentality that we should be on top.
Yes.
When I was my best graduating student in my department, very, very interesting guy.
What university is that?
University of Port Harcourt, Electrical Electronics. When this guy came, he's an Igbo guy. When he came, he couldn't speak good English.
Wow.
But funny enough, in his own secondary school, he was the best student.
Wow.
We'll talk about Nigeria.
We'll talk about that later.
But yes, but when he came, he had that mentality that he should be on top. This guy locked himself. This guy did things that were, after I saw my 100 level results, I had an issue in one of my subjects because they didn't put my result well, so they gave me an F, and I was sure disappointed with the GPA. They later figured it out. Okay. And, one of the things I did after 100 level is, I just attached myself to this guy and started working with him everywhere. I paid the price to ensure that I stayed in his space. And that revolutionized my university education. Why? Because he has to put in 8 hours.
Correct.
But I'll put in 3 hours and get the same result. But the point is that without him, will I have put in that 3 hours? Unlikely.
Correct.
But the point I'm making is that he had the mentality that he should be on top.
Correct.
So even when he went from a small pond to a big pond,
correct,
he sure knew that I had to become fat.
Correct.
So the problem is not really the content. The problem is the mentality.
Mentality. That's why mindset.
Last time I was speaking, I was saying something that I don't think that the problem is really the curriculum in America as it were. Me, I love the American. I learned a lot when I came to the American curriculum space. I was teaching most of the slides that you saw, right, that I did them based off of for Nigerian content, but I did them out of the knowledge I had from the American curriculum. And you find out that when I teach students, you hear, you get that a lot from them, right? But the point of it is that these guys, because even if they didn't have that, they would have crammed it.
Yes.
They have a superior mindset. We must finish this thing.
Yeah.
So that superior mindset just carries them and ensures that that's why when you now leave from this place where you learned how to do trapezoidal rule without seeing a graph in your life. This is what it means to be able to do Riemann sums, trapezoidal rule without ever seeing a graph. That means you don't understand what it actually looks like.
Correct.
You are drawing trapezoids in your mind. Now tell me what will happen when they go over there and they can see everything.
My brother, let me say this. When I entered chemistry, I was out of school from 2005 July. That's when I graduated. And then 2007 January, I went to school, right? For my bachelor's in Wisconsin. Do you know that when I went to that general chemistry class, I mean, I was one of the best in chemistry by God's grace in Janiki, but I wasn't close to top 10. That example you gave me, I was hanging out with Kessiana, Waliu, Jerry. Those guys were serious. I remember waking up in boarding school some nights, see Waliu doing math problems. And you wonder why he was best in further math. He put in the time. He and all of that. But anyway, so when I went to that general chemistry, by God's grace, I was getting A's in general chemistry. I've been out of school, but look at that, boom. And then other people were now tapping into, can I study with you on Sunday?
Yes. All those kind of things.
Correct, because of the framework and the rigor I got.
You got, yes.
Here's our call. Families in America, England and beyond, but we're focusing on America now. That's our first Houston, Texas.
I think anybody else can come.
Anybody else, even those in Nigeria that want to tap into what we're doing, you're welcome. But we are using Houston as our base. To launch. Yes. Go ahead. You were going to say.
So because I wanted to also share that because we have a lot of, there's a lot of immigration like out of Nigeria right now. And so for many of our students, when they leave and they travel, there was one that this one went to Canada. After she got in there, after they enrolled in school, the child came back and said, "Mommy, I don't get, why am I doing decimals in, was it grade 5 or grade, like, why am I being, why am I doing these things at this level?
Stage.
Not just, why am I doing at this level, and all of that." And not long after, it wasn't up to 3 weeks that they were there. They took the child to go and represent them.
To go and do competition.
In a nationwide competition or something like that. And in my head, the question I was asking is, are you the one that did the work? Do you understand what I'm saying as a position?
Correct.
So what I'm saying is that basically, if you hear things like, "Oh, we don't give children assignments," what exactly is funding that thinking?
Wow.
What is funding it? So a lot of immigrant parents now, know what they have to do? They now have to start maybe trying to get teachers from Nigeria, which is exactly what we are doing up now.
Because our tutors are here.
Yes. To insist on a certain level of, academic excellence for your kids.
So parents, we're ready for you. If you're in America and around the world, you can be guaranteed that rigor you got with new general maths, plus counting to calculus, plus some new lesson integration. Actually, we're going to have you lesson as a resource. They're coming. So that means your children can lead the way in STEM education.
Yeah, I was
the
about
next
to say that.
Generation of, let's start seeing Nobel Prize winners in physics from Nigeria. Let's start seeing Nobel Prize physicists from other parts of the world, right? Kenya, South Africa. As we start adopting this rigor. We are here and we're serious.
And even though we will not train them, we will not teach them into win the Nobel Prize, obviously, right?
Correct.
But we'll give them that foundation that they know that I should jump.
I am capable.
I am capable.
By God's grace.
I am going there.
Yes.
Some of the kids that we just started working with now, well, I don't know if I should let me not mention this, but, from the very class, from the conversations, the guys already now beginning to say very interesting things about what he knows that the confidence that he's beginning to exude. So imagine when we've been able to sit, for maybe months upon months. And then also another thing is that it's actually Nigerian School of Mathematics plus STEM and AI. So we are deliberate about also leveraging on both of them. This summer, I think the programming that they'll be doing, well, they have different programming classes, but one of them is they are going to be leveraging on AI for game development.
Okay.
Right. And your kids would be able to, and again, these are things that, people that we actually do. We have kids that do that already and stuff. So you leverage on AI to say, now, I understand the basics of the code, right? Correct. But can I use Gemini to framework the code and then drop it in and then debug?
Wow.
Because that's where programming is going to now. Programming has left, I type every single comma, I type every single asterisk, I type every single this and all of that.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to build custom-made ideas with the help of AI, and you do it in record time.
Correct.
So by the end of the program, your children would have other children playing their games.
Wow.
Imagine what it does to their confidence to say that nobody else can do this. I can.
Yes.
So it already sets them on a perspective where everybody's looking up to them and they know that they are able to do more. So for me, again, I feel like it's a no-brainer. Your child really has to be in Nigerian School of Mathematics this summer.
Yes. Thank you so much. Take care. Subscribe for more. God bless.
God bless.